I'm gonna jam tonight.
All right. Hey guys, hey, thank you so much for joining us. This is the Boomerang Radio Show, right here on Studio W, the Buzz, your global radio network. We circle this thing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with some of the finest programs you can find anywhere around the globe. I am William A. Brown, and I see my co-host, Mad Mike. Mr. Mad out there in Southern California. Hey, welcome to the set, my friend. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, William. Thanks for having me on as always.
Oh, well, look, you always have a seat at the table here, my brother. We do this thing called the Boomerang each and every Sunday. And Mike and I also, we have the show called Mad Mike, Wild Will Coast to Coast. And we bring you some great music. And what I really love about that show is that we have not only some of your classics, some music that you haven't heard from before, old school classics. And I'm really excited, Mike, about new artists that we bring on. New artists, and they trust us with their music. And they release it first. They get a copy written right here on the Buzz. Guys, you already know. Once you do something through the media, whether it's TV or radio or any type of publication, it's already copyrighted. And so we are able and so happy to provide that service to you guys. So kick back, grab a glass, and enjoy. Ann is out. She won't be with us tonight. She's not feeling well. She just sent me a text
Oh,
message.
no.
And I hope you get better, friend. Hope you get better. We had a show planned, and I wanted Ann to be here because she had a friend of ours, a friend of the show on her show yesterday, the Eden as an Act of Worship Ministries radio show. She had a fan favorite, a station favorite, Mr. Peter Ratcliffe. I absolutely love that gentleman. He is the co-founder of the Freedom Library in Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota, as a matter of fact. And he was telling us about the things that are happening there in Minnesota. He was saying that he's heartbroken in a lot of ways because of what's happening in his city, his town, his state. And but he was also encouraged. He was encouraged that people are coming together, they are working together, and it doesn't matter for what background, what ethnic uh, genre you're from, and people coming together, they're helping out one another. And I find that encouraging. That's what America is really all about. We're here to support and help one another. We have people from different religions, different backgrounds, different lifestyles, different vocations. But it this country works when we work together. And so, what a great gentleman. He will be on with us on the 15th. He'll be with us on the 15th of February, coming back. And we're going to continue our publications on Black history. I have some of that coming up, but also just found out something. That young man or little boy, 5-year-old Liam, that was taken with his father and detained and sent to Texas from Minnesota to Texas. He and his father were released. Not sure whether you saw that today or
I
not,
did.
Mike. Yep, they were
I sure
released,
did. Yep.
and a judge ordered them released. And he ordered them released because number one, the father was here legally, and he says, no, you send these people back to Minnesota. The father was here legally, the mother's here illegally, but they were detained. I saw a clip earlier today. It was the superintendent of the public schools there in, I believe it was Minneapolis. That's where Liam was taken from, rather. And he was saying that not only Liam, but he has 4 other students that have been detained. And there are several children that are taken. I don't care what side of the spectrum you're from. Our children should not be traumatized. Now, whether they're here legally or not, let's say they're here illegally. The children played no part in that. If their parents go somewhere and take them with them, they have to go. But let's go with the legal aspect. You do not take children and people out of courtrooms. And Mike, you can jump in here anytime you want. You do not take, if they're in the courtroom, and this is broken down too, they're here legally trying to uh, oblige and also obey their legal process of asylum. You know, the criminals are not going to the courtroom to argue a case. The illegal people aren't here. I hate to use that word illegal, but let's just use that for the sake of discussion here. The bad people, and not even the bad people, the people who came here across the border without coming through the port of entry, uh, then they are here considered undocumented because both sides of Congress, they said, well, look, we're not going to call them illegal immigrants anymore. We're going to call them undocumented because it's a civil case. It's a civil case. But even given that, the ones that are showing up in the courtrooms, they are here legally. Folks, look, we can't have it both ways. You're saying, look, if you do it this way, then you may gain a right to citizenship, but you have to do it the right way. 100%, I go along with that. I go along with that 100%. So what I'm saying is ICE, Border Patrol have no business. And I wish Congress and the judiciary would pass a law. You do not go into courtrooms to arrest anyone. Don't do it.
So let me be clear about what you're saying. I want to make sure we're on the same page. And you and I have to play nice with each other today because Ann's not here to referee.
Okay. All right. Okay. If you say so.
So I'm going to endeavor to be nice.
Okay. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best, Mike. I promise. I promise.
All right. Yeah, we have to respect Ann's wishes, even though she's not here. Hopefully she's listening. Ann, I hope you're feeling better and hurry back for next week. So what you're saying, to clarify what I think you just said, was if you come to one of our borders and you come through a port of entry and you claim asylum, which you're allowed to do, if you're escaping your crap hole, I cleaned up my language for you, William. If you're escaping your crap hole country because you or your family are in danger, or it's just too dangerous for you to raise a family there, and there's a lot of bad countries out there that aren't safe to raise families in, and very oppressive. And here in America, that's not what we do. So if you come through a port of entry and you claim asylum for the proper reasons, and they allow you into this country under the understanding that you will follow through with the asylum program, am I hearing you say that you're good with that?
I am good with that, as long as you do it legally and you follow orders properly. Yes, sir.
See, here we're getting along already, because I agree with you. If you come through a port of entry and you're scared to death for you or your family and you're escaping the country that you're escaping from, and you come here and you hold up your hands, you go, listen, I want to come to the United States. I want to raise my family in the United States. I want to go through the process of asylum, and I will adhere to all the rules and regulations that you tell me I have to do. I'm good with that. Yes. This is, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, this is the melting pot. America is the melting pot, and we're better because of it. We're better because we have influence from other countries. We have different cultures that come here that blend nicely. Okay, it's like making a smoothie. Okay, you take some pineapple and you take some strawberries and you take this and some juice and you blend it all together and you get this wonderful, delicious drink that's healthy for you. That's how I see America, and that's healthy, and I'm good with all of that. As I've mentioned many times on this program, my mother was an immigrant, and her green card is in my safe in the other room. And she came here the proper way. She didn't want to become a citizen because she didn't at the time want to relinquish her British heritage, which she would have at the time had to have done. Now you can have dual citizenship here in America, which is good because that means you still have respect for your homeland, but you want to assimilate into America and become part of that melting pot. So I'm way good with all of that. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page with doing things properly versus
absolutely.
versus jumping the border or swimming a river or whatever to come here secretively is the way I'm going to put it. So back to you. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
We on the same, absolutely. We're on the same page.
See, we're agreeing already, William. We agreed with each other.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. Oh, my. Okay. You trying to throw me off by agreeing with you.
Here. No, I'm going to give you, here's an internet hug for you, William. Here's an internet hug for you, buddy.
Thank you. I needed that because out here, man, I would switch it up just for a little bit, then we'll get back on topic. Because I was checking out the temperatures in Southern California. God, I'm in Southern California. 80 degrees in Southern California versus 26 degrees here in Richmond. Oh man. Would you export?
I have nothing to say. Nothing.
Okay. Oh boy. Would you import? I mean, export some of that over here. Some of that. Give me at least 20, 30 degrees, something like that. Send me about 30 degrees over here, brother. So anyway, my next point is, if you're here on a visa, we all know if you're here on a visa, it has to be approved. That is a legal way to be in the country. Some of those are temporary, and if your visa expires, okay, and you do not bother about renewing that visa, then they have a right to remove you from this country. We have a lot of people from different parts of the world that are here on student visas, work visas, whatever visa that is, but that is a legal way of being here. Okay, Mike, do you agree with that?
Yes. Again, my mother came here on a permanent visa because she married an American. She came here to marry an American. So she was on a temporary visa and then became permanent resident after she married my father, who was an American citizen.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Good with that too. Yeah, we've agreed twice now.
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
And we're only 14 minutes into the show, and we've already agreed twice.
Oh boy, he's throwing me off, folks. He's definitely throwing me off. No, I agree with that. There's no question about it. It's no question about it. Now, this is where it gets sticky. People have been here for years and years and years, and they never bothered about doing things the right way. Okay, as far as going through getting a visa, work visa, which you can get if you can prove yourself, and it's proven that you are not some nefarious person, and you have people that's been here 10, 15, 20, 30 years. They have worked. They don't have a criminal background or anything like that. And they have contributed to society. Now, you have to understand, immigrants contributed, and I believe I need fact check me, if you will. They pay over $100 billion a year in taxes. $100 billion.
I do have a question. If you're gonna say that, I do have a question.
No, please go on. I'm okay. Go and ask.
So you're stating that they're paying over $1 billion in taxes.
$100 billion.
100 billion. Okay, so they pay a lot of taxes. They come here, they work, they're on the government roll, they have taxes taken out of their paycheck or whatever. The problem I have, which isn't what you're talking about, the problem I have is when people come here, even legally under like a work visa and stuff, but they get paid under the table. So taxes aren't taken out. So how much, I don't have an answer for this, by the way. How much money is been stolen from the American taxpayer rolls because they're getting paid under the table, and they're being taken advantage of by these employers that are paying them substandard wages. They're skirting our laws as far as like minimum wage goes. They're taking advantage of these people because they're desperate to make any money. So they'll take a non-living wage. They'll work under the table to get their cash. And shame on those employers for doing that, number one. And shame on those people for not doing things properly, like William and I have been talking about for the last 15 minutes, and coming here, doing things the right way and paying your taxes. My mother paid all her taxes. She worked for 40 years for a law firm here in Ventura County, which is in Southern California. And mom and dad paid their taxes, and they did everything the correct way. And all I'm saying, and I think William is going to agree with me for the third time today, is that just do it correctly. Just follow the rules. Do it the proper way, and you won't have any problems.
We're 3 for 3.
There we go.
We're 3 for 3. That's a record. That is a record.
And
yeah, I don't have an answer for you about the people that are getting money under the table. I don't have an answer for that because, well, it's sort of impossible to know because they are paid under the table, and there are no records that we could obtain that will verify one way or the other how much they are getting paid. Now, there was one time in this country, and a lot of presidents, they adhered to this or enforced or needed and wanted this enforced. And that is the fact. Not only would they have to go after people that are here illegally and they are getting paid illegally, they would also try, and I don't know how successful they were with that, if there was just word salad or whatever it was, or just lip service rather, how much that was enforced. But I do know that prior administrations, we're going back way before President Obama now, and they were saying that, look, not only are we going to hold the people that are doing things the illegal way here, that are getting paid illegally, we're also going to hold the people that are hiring these people. I didn't see too much enforcement on that. I didn't see too much enforcement on that at all.
Me neither.
Yeah, whether it was Republican or Democrat, I didn't see much enforcement on that. I think they were just giving Americans lip service just to appease us, because Americans were up in arms about to say, hey, look, all right, I'm getting taxed up to wazoo. And we have people here that's getting paid under the table. Now, they wouldn't get paid, they wouldn't be getting paid under the table if there wasn't somebody that's paying them, which was that employer. Correct. And we know we have a lot of greedy employers out here, greedy corporations that's taking advantage of our workers. You take your major franchises, including Walmart and maybe even McDonald's or places like that. They are robbing their employees blind. Their employees may be getting a minimum wage, maybe when that CEO is getting rich, fat, and happy each and every year. And Mike, I don't know how you feel about this.
Well, let's do a disclaimer. Let's do a disclaimer real quickly here, so we don't get sued. Allegedly, these companies, possibly, allegedly, Walmart and others. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and disagree with you for the first time in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I'm going to disagree with you. Okay. I'm pretty sure, because Walmart is not only a national company, but an international company. I'm going to guess they're probably doing things correctly, that they're dotting their I's and crossing their T's, and their employees are getting paid the proper minimum wage, regardless of where they're at in the country or out of the country, and that proper taxes are being taken out. So I'm not aware of Walmart or any major corporation doing that. I think it's the people that operate, the companies that operate in the gray area, so to speak, that are taking advantage of these people and underpaying them, and those taxes aren't being taken out. So that I just wanted to clarify, so you and I don't get sued, William.
Okay, thank you for that. Because guess what? They could come after me, but guess what? There's nothing here. But the point is, but I do think that these major corporations are, we're going to have to disagree on that, because I do think that these major corporations are taking advantage of their employees. And I'm going to say this,
How are they going about
I've
that?
worked for. Well, they're paying them the minimum wage or barely the minimum wage, and maybe, and not a living wage. Let me say this: I don't know anyone now. Even Congress for the last several years have been trying. Some people in Congress, rather, uh, have been advocating for at least a $15 an hour uh, average wage. Now, you have
That's
some
here in
companies that are
California
paying
already.
more than that. Yep. Well, you have some companies that are paying more than that. Some companies are paying what is close to what we would call a living wage. I don't know anywhere in the country that you can raise a family on $15 an hour today. 15 hours, I mean $15 an hour. And think about that. I don't know what that adds up to a week. I don't have my calculator in front of me, but a living wage and I mean rent and mortgages are through the roof. The prices aren't going down. There are a few things that are going down. I understand the gasoline might be down a little bit. Uh, Food, it depends on what it is, might be going down a little bit, but the cost of living and healthcare and medicine, these things are going up instead of going down. And we
So I have a
certainly, as a
question.
country,
I do have a
we have
question.
go on, go on.
So my question is this: I don't think it's proper to make a blanket statement that everybody should get a minimum wage. And let me give you an example. When I was growing up, I worked for a little mom and pop grocery store called Palm Market. And it was literally a mom and pop grocery store. And I would clean the meat shop, and I would refill the paper sacks at the registers, and I'd sweep and mop the floors and did janitorial work and whatever. And I was 14. I have a problem with being told that 14-year-olds that are doing entry-level menial jobs should get a wage that's good enough to raise a family on when I'm 14, living at home, doing an entry-level job. I don't think that's appropriate. I really don't. And even when I was happy to get I think I was getting paid $2.65 an hour back then. That was the minimum wage. I was happy to get that. I'm living at home. I'm good. I love my work. They treat me really well. I'm happy. I was a paper boy before that, delivering papers. Should I get a living wage as when I was 12 years old delivering papers? I think there has to be a proper sliding scale based on your ability, the quality of the work that you're doing. If I'm sweeping floors, I'm not doing brain surgery. There's got to be some kind of a sliding scale that's fact based on the performance of the job that you have chosen to take on. You went to the job and said, "Hey, please hire me, and I'll work hard for you." So it's on the up and up. You know what you're getting yourself into. So I think this whole living wage thing, there has to be some kind of a breaking point where, okay, starting at this level of occupation, okay, now you can pay them a living wage. And when you say living wage and you're talking about $15 across the nation, living here in California is very expensive compared to living in maybe some of the southern states where here in California, $15 an hour is nothing. But maybe in Mississippi or Louisiana or some of the other southern states, $15 an hour is like a lot. And same thing. I had people move from California where they sold their home here, and with the money they went to Branson, Missouri, and they bought a beautiful 3-story home and on like 2 acres for minimal compared to what they would spend for that here in California. So you've got to take into account there's got to be some level playing field here.
I agree. Now let's go back to what you're saying as a kid in high school. I wasn't talking about you. Okay, kids in high school, if you're paying them maybe $10 an hour, whatever it is, they're working part time, they're just getting extra money. Yeah, they are happy. but you're not
Right.
raising a family. You're not raising a family. Okay.
So should they
You
get this
can't.
living wage?
No, I'm not saying
Okay.
that it should. I'm not
All
saying it
right.
should.
We're agreeing
What I'm
again.
saying, man, I'm trying to get used to this. And come back soon so Mike and I can start fighting again. But no, what I'm saying, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. But what I'm saying is the living wage, and you're right about that. The cost of living in different parts of the country is different. Okay,
Very good.
if you in back hole Louisiana or back hole Arkansas or whatever it is, right? Yeah, it may not cost so much to live there because everything is based on supply and demand. Okay, supply and the country and companies adjust accordingly. Okay, now the supply in California or the demand in California or and even now in Virginia, I thought by moving back here to Virginia because the cost of living when I left Virginia some 30 odd years ago, and then I came back here over the last 4 years rather, it's way different. It cost me as much here in Virginia as it did in California. As a matter of fact, in some cases, it's costing me more. And then
Really?
you move up to Northern Virginia, it costs even more than that. When the closer you get to Washington, D.C., it's a little bit higher. But Richmond, oh my goodness, it's not much more. It's not much more in Northern California Northern Virginia than it is in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, where I am, Central Virginia. So it depends on what part of the country you're in. So no, I do agree that if you're a high schooler and you're getting extra money, you live in a home with your parents and you just got extra money in your pocket, no, I don't think that you should or it's necessary for you to have the same amount as a working family, mother and or father that's trying to raise a family. But I would get to this point right here. I've worked for several major corporations in my life, several. And I'm talking worldwide, major corporations, okay? And I've met the CEOs of these corporations. Man, these cats don't do a damn thing. They don't do anything. I mean, they're not the owners of the company, but they're the CEOs. I'm talking about making millions and millions and millions of dollars. And these CEOs do not deserve what they get. They're making millions of dollars, and their employees are barely making it out here. So, no, I haven't found a CEO yet or know of a CEO yet that deserve 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200 million dollars a year. No. These cats, all the work is done from the bottom up. From the bottom up. And what happens is the CEOs, okay, and his minions, they will have board meetings and they will pass certain things. Okay, this is what the company needs to do. This is what we want to do. And then it's passed down to the workers. The workers have to perform the work. And then the work goes down, but the money trickles up. It's like a top-down thing where the money is at the top, but the work is done from the bottom. Man,
Question.
these cats, they don't. No, I don't think it's fair that way. And I think if you've got a CEO that's making $100 million a year,
Go question.
why not? Why not take? Yes, sir. You can jump in anytime. Why not take the lion's share of that money? Maybe give him 10, 15 million dollars a year. Take the lion's share of that money and give it to your workers. I'm not talking about the owner of the company. The owner of the company, if you own that company and you founded that company, this is your idea. It's your money that you invested in and you marketed it to get it to the point that it is now. And you simply hired someone to run it. That person that's running that CEO that's running that company, he shouldn't be making 100, 200, 300 million dollars a year. There's no way. I would say what I would do, I would give that CEO, he would get a good chunk of money, but the bulk of that money will be I would invest into the people that are producing the product for me. What's your take?
So my question is, are those employees that are working for this supposed company corporation, are they there willingly? Did they go and say, raise their hand and say, please hire me? Yes, they did.
Of course, they needed a job.
Okay. I'm gonna take this from the bottom all the way to the top. So those employees are willingly working for that company, getting the wage that they agreed to get. So I'm pretty sure we can agree on that.
Mhm.
Now moving up,
Yep.
do you think, and again, this is more of a rhetorical question, CEOs of corporations don't start out as a CEO. They have to work hard and get knowledge, gain ability, and work their way up through a first level employee to a mid-level employee to assistant manager to general manager to whatever. They have to work their way up and they have to earn their positions. CEOs of corporations don't start out as CEOs, and the owners of the company, whether I guess there could be stockholders or single owners or two owners of a company. It could be many different versions, but whoever controls the company, whoever pulls the strings, whoever says yes and no to whatever and tells the CEO what to do, those people feel that their CEO, whoever's running the company, sometimes the owner can be the CEO as well, of course, but they feel this person has the proper knowledge and ability to handle running a very large corporation, and we think she is worth $1 million a year plus bonuses if the company's doing well. So the employees are working there willingly. The CEO didn't start out as a CEO. He or she worked their way up to that level that where their ability was so sought after that the owners of a company said, we really like how you run stuff and we want you on our team. What's it going to take? We're going to sign a 5-year contract with you for $1 million a year, $2 million a year, plus bonuses if the company's doing well. So this is all entered into with the agreement of ownership, with the agreement of the CEO, and with the agreement of the employees. So who's being taken advantage of here if everyone's in agreement with their position where they're at?
Well, this is the thing about it. A lot of CEOs, you're right, some CEOs work, work their ways from the bottom up. Some CEOs are hired right off the street, not off the street, but they're hired through recommendation. Maybe they were the CEO of XYZ company. Now they're coming over the ABC company, and the owner says, wow, you did a great job at XYZ company.
There you go.
I like for you to come and work for me. Yeah, but these are not people that necessarily work from the bottom up in this particular corporation or any corporation, so to speak.
They had to start somewhere.
Yep, you have some CEOs that work from the bottom up, and they've gotten to that point. But what I'm saying is, I think that what causes an issue with a lot of corporations is the disparity between what that CEO is making and that person down that's actually doing the work. Now, the way I look at it, this is the way I look at it. I have a group, let's say I have a group of 100 people, and I have, say, maybe 10 people in management. The other 90, including the CEO, the other 90 people are actually doing the work. They are they're in the plant. They are assembling things. They're putting things together. They are producing the product. Okay. Then, of course, they have a supervisor. And then you go up to middle management that's looking over various departments. Okay, I understand. The higher up you go, the more you make here. All right. And then you go up to upper management. Okay. All right. And these guys are really carrying out the orders from the CEO. And then you have the CEO. What I'm saying, there shouldn't be a disparity between that much of a disparity between the person who's actually doing the work versus the person who's barking out orders. Okay, because without that bottom group right there, I don't have a business. I don't have a
Okay,
product. I can't produce what I want to sell.
I understand.
Yes, sir.
So I understand what you're saying. If you think you're being treated unfairly because your CEO is making millions and you're making less than 100,000 a year, and you think you're being treated poorly, quit. Go to work for another company or start your own company. You become the owner and CEO of your own company if you think you can do it. So if you're being, if you feel this disparity is unfair, quit.
Yeah.
Quit.
Okay, I understand.
No one's making.
See,
no one's forcing you. No one's forcing you to go to work for that company A. Go to work for company B, where you're treated more fairly.
Well, guess what?
Or start your own company C.
Well, possibly it takes work to start your own company. Number one, what I'm saying, no one's forcing you to work there. However, I've got to work. I've got a family. I have 2 children. I have a wife. I have a home. I have to work somewhere, and I don't see anything else right now that is paying me more than I have right now. I don't have the means to open my own business. I could maybe start something that I'm familiar with, but then that's going to take some work. It may take a little capital that I don't have. I might need to get a bank loan, which I may or may not qualify for, or whatever. So there's a lot to go into it. Now you have to understand as well. A lot of these corporations out here, they, especially your major corporations, they are passed down through legacy. Okay, like you take Sam Walton with Walmart, and
is that illegal?
Also owns what's it? No, there's nothing illegal about it. No, it's not illegal. What I'm saying is, you can't say that John that works for me. John is a hard worker, comes to work on time. He does his work. He's a great producer. Okay, now John didn't have Sam Walton as his partner. I mean, as his grandfather that passed passed that down to me. Well. I mean, I know that's life. I know things happen that way. But Mike, there's so much legacy hire or legacy appointments out here that you can't escape that because this guy Walton, he can start his own company. Oh shucks, he's got $100 million in the bank, or he's got $1 million in the bank. And he's got $5 million in the bank. Here, me, I'm William. I have $1,000 in the bank, and I'm paying my bills. I'm working hard and stuff like that. And see, everything is not equal. I'm not saying that everything has to be equal. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying
you want to legislate fairness. How are you going to legislate fairness? Life is not fair, by the way. And I hope you can agree with me for the 5th time on the show today. Life is not fair.
I agree with that. There's a book that I read called The Road Less Traveled. And one of the most famous captions in that book, it says, life is not meant to be fair. Life is just life. I forgot who's the author of that book. It's called The Road Less Traveled. I read that a few decades ago. Yeah, it's not fair. But what I'm saying is, you can't say, well, start your own company. It may not be as easy for some people than it is others. If I have say my dad is a rich man, okay, I said, Dad, I want to start my own company. I'm working for this company right here, and it's not working. I'm not, I could do a better job. I can produce a better product, and blah, blah, blah. Dad said, well, how much you need? I said, I need $5 million. Well, everybody doesn't have that luxury. Everyone does not have that luxury. That doesn't mean that they aren't good, hard, decent, honest people. It doesn't mean that. It means that some people have assets or have access to assets that others don't. You see,
we all don't. We're not all born into the same equal situation. We're not all born into. And we've talked about this many times here. Some of us start at the starting in a race. Some of us start at the starting line, and some people start 5 yards back, some 10 yards back, some 25 yards back. So again, life is not fair, and your beginning isn't guaranteed on this earth just because you're born into this world. You don't automatically get A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You don't, you know, the arms don't open up and you're cradled in golden blankets. You know, we don't all start the same. And I acknowledge that, and I think you do too, William. And we try to make things fair. We try to make things equal, but it doesn't always work out. And like you said, the name of the book, you know, life isn't fair and it's not meant to be, or whatever the name of the book was.
Yeah, it's called A Road Less Traveled.
Grab your ass with both hands and make your life what you want it to be. Don't sit back and here's an analogy I like to use, and I don't know if I've used it here on Boomerang or not, but some people lie on the beach with their arms out, laying in the sun, basking in the sun, waiting for waves to wash over them. Well, you can't wait for those waves to wash over you. Get your butt out of the sand, get cleaned up, go out there and make your reality. Go to where you want to be. At least give it a try. Some people don't even try. They just lay on the beach waiting for the waves to wash over them and the government to take care of them. Oh, well, the government, if they want to be fair, the government must be my babysitter and take care of me. This is crap. So
yeah,
that's
okay. Hey, look, there's no question about that. Okay, we can say the same thing about some of these legacy babies out here that they lay on the beach all the time and everything is given to them. Like I said, the life is not meant to be fair. Even it should be. We grow up and say, okay, if you do this the right way, if you do this the right way, you do this, and then you will be rewarded. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, because life is just life. You may have obstacles in your way. I'm not saying excuses. Okay, keep your excuses, because if you have every opportunity. If you have every opportunity to succeed and you have the same opportunities, say if I had the same opportunities that Mike has and you have the same opportunity that we have, but you squander it, okay, or you don't make wise decisions, that's a whole different story. But what I'm saying is in a lot of situations, people don't have the same opportunities that we may or may not have, because there's a such thing out here called discrimination. And I'm not necessarily talking about whether you black or whatever it is, or white or Hispanic or Native American or European, or Asian, or whatever it is. People, you know, man, sometimes we are our own worst enemies.
You can have discrimination. You can have white on white discrimination because you were born on the wrong side of the track. You can have black on black discrimination because you're lighter skinned black and I'm darker skinned black. So I hate you because you're lighter skinned. You can have interracial, you can have religious. Look at Ireland. You had the Catholics and the Protestants. This was basically white on white hatred and discrimination based on religion. So you can have so many different forms of discrimination.
Perfect. You're exactly right about that. There's no question about it. Like I said, I didn't say necessarily black or white or whatever it is, because there was
no, you didn't.
You know,
that's true.
As human beings, sometimes we eat our own, and it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Some people discriminate because you're shorter or you're skinnier.
Yeah,
man, you know,
or you're born on the wrong side of the tracks.
You would think after all of these years that man would have evolved.
No,
it would have evolved.
No, we're still prehistoric. We're still prehistoric.
Psychologically, that is crazy though. But we can send a man to the moon, can't we? You've got the technology that blows my mind sometimes. You have AI right now. We figured that out. I've got so much for you, Mike. Oh my God. You just led into something. You have religious discrimination, and let's do this right now. I'm going to play this for you because I found this fascinating. And I think we look at what's going on in the world, Mike, and we're saying, well, this is wrong, that's wrong. And we point it out each and every week. And this week, I decided to do something different. Let's go to the root of the problem. Find out, why are these happening? Why do people think the way they do? What the hell's going on here? And I think a lot of this, it's two things that I think that affects and harm society more than anything else. And Mike, you may agree with me or not. I think it's religion and politics. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean right now with this clip right here. Let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're enjoying the Boomerang Radio Show. If you like what we have, please share it with a friend. Share it with your friend, okay? Your friends out there, please let them know that the Boomerang Radio Show, we do this each and every week. Check us out. We're on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Some of the finest programs you can find anywhere around the world. Please go to our Facebook page, our LinkedIn page, our YouTube channel, which is Studio W The Buzz. Please like, share, and comment. Your comment means a lot. Plus, it helps out with the algorithms. Let's do this. Okay.
Bob doesn't like to call himself the Grand Wizard. Instead, he's chosen a more subtle PR approach, the National Director.
We don't have a sign everybody welcome because everybody's not welcome to our church. There's
something that no one has ever really talked about is the fact that Thomas Robb is not only the Grand Wizard of the KKK, he's also a pastor.
Well,
I have more footage, but the fact that the Ku Klux Klans have a church is already disturbing. And their church isn't a welcome all church. Let's not go that far.
It's not a real church.
But you don't necessarily have to be a Klansman to come and worship white Jesus at the KKK church. There's more.
I asked him if a black man could go to heaven, and this is Thomas Robb deflecting that question for 13 minutes.
the Bible doesn't address black people. Wow. Hardly at all.
So does that mean then, so your belief is the Bible was written by white people to white people?
In modern terms, written by Israelites.
I mean, it's a very generic way of putting it, but yeah.
Written by Israelites to Israel.
So would an Israeli be welcome in your church?
Probably not.
Whoa. What a POS.
Y'all, the man basically said Jesus would not be welcomed in the Church of Jesus. That's how racist this man is.
That's crazy.
isn't it?
He wouldn't allow Jesus in the church, but will worship a white version of Jesus on a picture.
Wow.
Now that's called racist dedication. And he was honest. He said, probably not. All right, put it at full mass. So let me explain the rebranding here, okay? Makes it kind of worse in my opinion, but journalist Josh White did a great job, interviewed this Klansman named Thomas Robb. Thomas Robb, he wants to be known as the national director. He wants to get rid of this grand wizard thing. That's just for behind closed doors. But to the public, he's your national director. A regular nonprofit outreach organization for the white man. That's what he wants you to believe. And I want you to know you don't necessarily have to be in the Klan in order to worship white Jesus with them. And so he wants to extend an olive branch, not to people of color, and not even to brown people, but white Aryan. That's it. But you don't have to be a Klansman. All right, put it back up. The journalist's face, I got to give it to him. He kept a straight face during this whole thing because there were some answers here that would have sent many of us into a place where our facial expression would have betrayed us, okay? You can find Josh White's full interview, KKK leader of Thomas Robb. at Josh White on Threads. Very thankful for his leadership. In his post on Threads, White would recap some key parts of his interview with Rob. Quote, when I asked where his racist views came from, he started to trace American history all the way back to Abraham in the Bible.
Whoa.
To Rob, America's true story doesn't start in 1776. It starts with God's covenant with white Europeans because in his mind, Israelites in the Bible were white. This is how easily racism gets wrapped into systematic bias theology. You know, when he says black people aren't discussed in the Bible, can I say so? I got to say this because every person who has ever gone to a seminary class knows that even during that time, people were identified by family and region. Jesus of Nazareth.
Not color.
The Nazarene. The region where you from, the Canaanite, the area for the migration, the wilderness, the promised land. These are regions. These regions develop names. Even the nomadic regions from what we understand as Jacob being renamed into Israel, having 12 children known as the 12 tribes of Israel. And out of the tribe or the land region or the nomadic culture of Judah came the Christ through the lineage of that union. Now, all of this has to do with landmass, family structure, culture. They didn't refer to people by skin color like we do. But it is clear that they are people of color because the few references of color, all of the references are black. From the Book of Solomon all the way to the description of Jesus in Revelation. Senator, his racism runs deep. What say you to this new brand of the KKK? You can be white, but not necessarily a Klansman and still come to our church.
It should be labeled as a terrorist group, Doc. With all seriousness.
That's right.
Just go on. Hey, President Trump.
Yeah.
Your administration should just go ahead and label the KKK as a terrorist group because that is exactly what it has been historically and what it is now. It is a terrorist group. This is a reason why people like him need to have teachers who teach the real history, both on the theology side, but also just on the plain history side. Now, I call on Black Jesus when it's serious. That's the one I call on. Yes. And your references to the Bible, hair wool, feet of brass, not white. Okay, that is for sure. But I call on Black Jesus specifically because in this country, they have made God white. And therefore, if you are not white and can never be white, then somehow God has made them superior. This man is just repeating the nonsense that imperialists have used to conquer peoples of color. But even if we just stick with this country and what happened to Black folks, they use Christianity as a weapon against Black people. And there's Coptic Christianity in Egypt and other types of Christianity. There are also other versions of the Bible too, Dr. Ritchie, which I understand this guy doesn't know. But let me talk to him about Black people in heaven and how God would feel about that. And first of all, what would Jesus do? None of this foolishness this man is talking about, but you hit the nail on the head. Jesus ain't even welcome.
Right.
But I will put that in the parking lot. This is the historian in me coming out. There is a concept known as mitochondrial E. And that DNA is found on the continent of Africa, meaning the original mother of all humankind originated on the continent known as Africa. I double dog dare him to look up mitochondrial Eve and mitochondrial DNA. So he might be shocked to know that Black women are the mothers of all.
That's right. There's the black woman is the mother, the cradle of civilization. That's according to science.
That's according to science.
The biodiversity, and this isn't being racially insensitive. The biodiversity inside of the black genome of the female mitochondria is the strand or contains the strands that allows for the DNA replication of anything. When I say anything, I mean any hue of color. Any hue of color. So that becomes the prerequisite to the conversation that most are unwilling to have. I'm okay with it. As a matter of fact, I love it. And we should all love a woman, period, because we all got here by one. What if I told you that the...
Right. Let's get rid of that. Okay, and let's go back here. Mike, I had to play that. I saw this and I was shocked. Because again, hey, thank you, Patricia Aldridge, Dr. Aldridge. She's watching. Hey, how are you? She says, sometimes we're our own worst enemies. Yes, yes, yes. And let's go back here because everybody's looking around, Mike, and these are not times, they're not normal. I mean, there's chaos in the streets. We can talk about prices. We can talk about crime. We can talk about chaos. And there's stuff breaking out all over the world. And like I said, I want to this has nothing to do with the White House or Congress or anything like that. But I want to go a little bit deeper there. Instead of, and I do want to point out the issues, but I want to find out, go a little bit deeper. What's causing these issues? Why is man so distorted? Why is man becoming so less sensitive? Why are we being so stupid? And there's violence and things of that nature, greed. We can go down the list. But Mike, there's a reason for everything. And it's people like we just saw. Before I played that, I said, I see two major problems why we're having the problems we're having right now. That's religion and politics. And God forbid that this man he's the grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. So with that, he has a following. I don't know how big it is, but it's too big. If it's 100 people, that's too much. What I'm saying is people like that who would so hate and indoctrinate people, then you have people who really don't think for themselves, and many of us out here don't think for ourselves. We let someone else do the thinking for us. Let's be honest right now. Okay? And you have people that's so easily indoctrinated to believe, let's say someone says to me, man, don't you know all white people are evil? And let's say I have a weak mind and I believe that. And I go around, I don't even know you, but I see you because you're white. I say, oh, yeah, that's my enemy right there. Oh my God. Okay. Or conversely, you, and I know you, okay, but let's say you are a weaker minded individual and somebody coming with you, Mike,
you're a follower.
You know, all black people are evil. You know, they're your enemy and they will kill you if they had the chance.
Yeah, that makes you a follower.
And I know you believe that because number one, I'm your broker. I'm black. So I know you don't even think like that. And you've also given me examples how you saw, even in your own department, things that weren't right. And you even corrected one of your counterparts. And I believe one guy was a sergeant one time, and you had to back him off of somebody that he was abusing. So, but Mike, take people who have a weaker mind, and we have so many weak minds out here through whatever reason, right? And they start believing this guy. Okay, keep in mind, you're not welcome in his church if you're not white, okay? And then these people bring their children, don't they? And children are like sponges. And they hear this garbage. Oh, dad. And the dad is like that. Yeah, all black people are evil. All Chinese people are evil. Mike, then you have, like I said, religion and politics. These are some of the most, two of the most disruptive, harmful things in our society right now.
I would add to. Let me quickly add to what you're saying. Your religion and politics. I would add to that man's inhumanity to man, because we are very prehistoric. We'd like to think of ourselves as quite civilized. We're not, and I can give you examples. But the clip that you showed just shows pure evil. I mean, that is just pure evil. Stalin referred to you're talking about people that are very susceptible to what other people tell them. And Stalin referred to those people as useful idiots. So you're not a leader, you're a follower, and you're a useful idiot. And you need to do your own research, and you need to have a little come to Jesus meeting with yourself. If you're going to beat your chest and tell other people how they should and should not act, and tell other people what they should and should not do, and then to pour this evil, vile garbage from this person who obviously his followers are useful idiots, and they are people that have no problem displaying inhumanity to their fellow man based on some kind of BS ideology that should not exist in our world. But again, I go back to we're not all that civilized, and I can prove it. I can prove it because we like to put on our gold rings and wear our gold chains and get our hair done and get our nails done. Well, I had my hair done today, by the way.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, looking good, bro.
Over an hour. Took me over an hour. But if you want to see inner human beings go ballistic, go to the grocery store. I think I've used this example before. Go to the grocery store, find a single mom with a child that only comes up to her waist, let's say. Go in there and take that child by the hand and watch that mother go prehistoric on your ass real quick. There, you got me to swear. Watch that mom go prehistoric on you. Same thing. You got to take a dad in the grocery store, in the produce aisle, and he's got a little girl that comes up to his waist. Go take that little girl's hand. Watch that dad go big bear on you real quick and go prehistoric on you. If he had a club and a rock, he'd beat you with it. So we can like to think in ourselves to being so evolved. We're so evolved. Yeah, we've come so far with humanity. No, we haven't. And the sooner we all recognize how prehistoric our brains still are, all those things that prehistoric man had in his brain, we still have them. Now we have other parts of our brains that have developed, and we tend to ignore and push aside the prehistoric brain. I've had a lot of psychology. Sorry, I have to bring that up. So I understand how the brain can shift from one section to the other, left brain, right brain, and prehistoric brain. And we can be very ugly as human beings. I mean, very ugly. Look at children when they're young, how evil they are to other children based on nothing other than they don't like them because they live on the other side of town, or they have to ride the bus to school and I don't. Children can be very cruel, very cruel. We as adults, we suppress that to a point. Only to a point.
Okay, I got a question for you. You have children that are evil or mean. Some, and that's how bullies. That's how bullies are born through that. Being able to look, I've got this, I got that. You're this, you're that, and they are bullies. Not all children are bullies. I'm gonna push back a little bit because all children aren't bullies. All children, aren't as selfish as some. Now, as a child, and especially if you're an only child, you might think that you the prince or princess of the world, right? And everything evolves around you. My question is to you: how much is that on the parent?
a great deal, because once again, as you mentioned earlier, children are sponges and they absorb their surroundings. And if you've got one or both parents that are very self-centered, that they beat their chest and they say we're better than everyone else because of XYZ, and they make up whatever they make up. Oh, because we drive a Mercedes, we're better than everyone else, or because we have a 2-story house instead of a 1-story house, we're better than everyone else. These kids absorb all that, and then they act, these children. And Dr. Demery taught me to stop saying all. So I appreciate Dr. Demery. I wish he was still with
I miss
us.
that guy. I miss him.
Dr. Demery told me at one point during Boomerang Show, he didn't tell me, he asked me a question. He kind of posed it and said, do you think all applies to this? Do you actually believe when you say all that it applies to everyone in that category? And he made me stop and think, and he taught me. So he was a great teacher and a great man. So you as you brought up, not all children have evil tendencies, but the ones that do have evil tendencies, I think it grows in the home from the parents. Absolutely. Or from other siblings, because I've seen siblings where you have 3 or 4 or 5 kids, and their older brother, older sister is a bully, so they take that on. They take that on to be like their older brother, older sister, and they themselves become a bully. And again, it's not a male-female thing. It's that's my take.
You know, I tell you what, this is fascinating. I'm loving this, Mike. I'm loving this. I can't believe that we've agreed 99% of the whole time. We're close to 100 here.
We're gonna have to delete this program.
we simply
can't have this, William.
You know, actually, I hope Ann is listening. If not, Ann is going to have to watch this, and she gonna say, "My God, I can't believe this." Ann is going to have a kick out of this one. Okay, but anyway,
she's chuckling while she's listening.
No. Oh man, you know what? I've got to share this with you, Mike. Boy, unfortunately, brother, we are off next Sunday on the Boomerang. Oh, okay. The 8th, we're off on the Boomerang because it's Super Bowl Sunday, and I promised the sports guys, if you love sports, check out the Studio W Sports page, which comes on each and every Saturday. That's 3 p.m. right here on the East Coast. That's noon Mike's time, 2 p.m. Central, and 1 p.m. if you're in the Mountain Time Zone. We're going to have a Super Bowl watch party here. The game will be on. The guys are going to be commenting, and it's going to be Dr. Sims. Oh, she just sent us a message. Mike, read that if you will.
Hang on, let me switch pages here.
Dr. Sims, hey, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Sims. Some children learn from outside influences. We have to realize that parents can be so busy with making a living to support their children. However, you have some children who are talking about project sorry, she's got some typos in here, guys. I'm trying to decipher that what they've learned in their homes. Hold on, it says see more.
The innocent ones, yeah.
The innocent ones, forcing them to become as they are in order to survive outside of their home. She continues on with a new text. She says, hey, YouTube, missing you guys. I think she meant, hey, YouTube, missing you guys. I'm awake now until the medication kicks in again.
Just on the medication.
I love
Dr.
you, Dr. Sim.
Okay, are you overdosing on that act right? No, on a serious note. I think it's probably okay. Mike, let me just say this, and you may not know. You may or may not know. I'm not sure. But I got a text message from Dr. Sims today, and Dr. Sims, she was one of our panelists right here on this network, and she is out on sabbatical. But I didn't know this, Mike, that she just came through. She had just had surgery, and I think it was a major surgery that she just went through. I just found that out today, and I didn't say anything because she said, "Well, William, I'm not. I hadn't told a lot of people, so I didn't know whether it was okay to say this, just to the world right now." I didn't know
information.
But thank you so much. I don't do that. I don't expose. But since you said I'll wait now until the medication kicks in again. Okay. Dr. Sims, I think it's already kicked in. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. But no, we get. Yes, let's go back and dissect what she just said, though. Some children learn from outside influence, which is true. Okay, let's take this right for a second. We all know there's a such thing called DNA. We all know that. And DNA, it works both ways. It works internally before the child even comes out. And so some children, they would take on the tendencies of the mother or father. You know, that's in that DNA strand. And I love this topic because we've had so many. This is not coming from me. I'm not an expert here, but I have had, or we have had, rather, experts on this topic. Okay, experts that would talk about DNA. We've got to get back in that a little bit because it depends on a mother's lifestyle before, during, and after. The father's lifestyle before, during, and after what develops in that child.
Very true.
Because keep in mind, and I had a godson, or have a godson rather, that was born a crack baby, and he was adopted by some friends of mine, but they were saying like his first few months, up to 3, 4, 5 months or so, it was a struggle because he would cry all the time, have fits all the time. I mean, as a baby, because of that poison that was in his body, right? And also that mother's lifestyle. And he also grew up, came out, and we saw signs of meanness and selfishness in his child when he came out. So these are things that happened while he was in the womb, right? So that child is influenced by the mother, even though that child isn't born yet. Whatever that mother is taking in, that child is taking in also. You have to understand this psychologically. Then when the child comes out externally, and I don't know what the proper term is, maybe some psychologists can tell me something about this or give me the correct term on this, but your DNA is further formed when you come out after you were born, Mike.
Yep.
Okay. Whether you're born in warm, go on, please.
The ongoing question is, are you a product of heredity, which is what you're discussing right now? Is heredity is how your genes have been altered because of substance abuse of both parents, actually, because it exists in the father's semen and it also exists in the mother's egg. So are you a product of environment or heredity? And I think the logical answer is you're a product of both.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think when you come out, you are a certain person based on some of the traits. And it can even go back, what I've studied though, Mike, it can even go back to your grandparents. You can inherit some of your grandparents' qualities.
Sure.
That's how many
stories have you heard where you have a lineage of a grandparent or great grandparent or whatever, where they have psychological issues and end up being institutionalized, and then their offspring ends up being institutionalized, and it's a defective gene is what you're looking at here. And when that gene decides to fire and go sideways, so to speak, in other words, you might be a great kid, but when you turn adult, that gene takes over, that craziness gene takes over. And this can happen. Well, look at heredity. I have high blood pressure, and it runs in the male side of my family, and that's just the way it is. In fact, part of that is what ultimately took my brother away a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
Is the high blood pressure, along with other things that occurred because of that. So once again, there's all kinds of markers within genetics that determine who you physically are and more importantly, who you mentally are. Whether you're same or whether you're Mad Mike with two D's because you're a little loose around the edges.
That's it.
So there's so many factors.
Because I can't control myself sometimes. So yeah, absolutely. But let's go back.
There's so many factors.
Mike, we've got to continue this because again, and I can't emphasize this enough. I think the importance of this broadcast right now is not only pointing out what the problems are, but diagnosing and figure out why do these things happen. And Mike, I think that as a society, as cultures, whatever it is, like I forgot who said it, but folks, you have to understand, there's really only one race. That's the human race. Yeah, and the sooner we can accept that, the world will be better. I promise you, the world will be better. Come on, man. We are all people with different skin tones. What the hell?
Stop standing on your brother's neck. Stop it.
Man, look.
That doesn't make you any better. Some people feel better if they can beat their chest and stand on their brother's neck, because it somehow elevates the serotonin levels in their brain, and they feel good for a short period of time because, I put that person down. I made them look foolish. I stood on their neck. I beat them up. I verbally beat them up, physically beat them up, whatever. So they get that endorphin rush, and it's like gambling. They always look for that rush again because they want that endorphin rush in their brain again. So they're training themselves to do evil things. And yeah, man's inhumanity to man is like the worst. It really is. Go ahead.
Oh, this is crazy. Oh, hey, I got a question for you. Why do because there's all levels of this. Why do we think that we need to be better than someone else? Why do any individual person think that we need to be better than anyone else? If we were satisfied with ourselves, why would I care that Mike is doing well and I'm not, or whatever? Why do we feel
it goes back to the prehistoric brain? It's the prehistoric brain once again. Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses kind of stuff. Yeah, it's the prehistoric brain that sort of seeps in, and it's kind of sneaks up on us, and sometimes we don't even realize that our prehistoric brain is controlling us to some degree, because we're animals. We are human, but we are human animals. And animals have certain things ingrained in them with their mitochondrial DNA, which is the mother's DNA, which is the most accurate DNA we can have, which the lady that on the video that you were mentioning was talking about mitochondrial DNA.
That's right.
I had to, at one point in my job, I had to go over and look at over 500 rape cases, and a lot of the DNA that goes into CODIS, which is the National Clearinghouse for DNA throughout the nation, is a wonderful place. And if you're a bad person, you're going to hate mitochondrial DNA and CODIS, which again is the clearinghouse, because they are solving crimes right now across the nation. They are solving crimes that are 30, 40, even 50 years old. Even though the person that committed the crime has died, they figured out afterward, because DNA got put into CODIS, that was from a brother or a sister, an uncle or whatever. And that was so close that they were able to tie that evil person in and figure out the crime, even though that person had already died. And it was a crime that was committed 50 years ago. So mitochondrial DNA is extremely important with regard to who was Jesus and what part of the world did he come from? And if you start looking at the reality of things, common sense will tell you the Middle East, they were probably a little bit on the darker skin side, if you're going to be real about these things and things. And this guy from the KKK and all, he's just so misfiring on he's got no brain cells, or he's just firing on evil.
Well, see, Mike, just a couple of things I would love for you to do, because this is what you did as an investigator, because folks, I had no idea. Mike invited me down to when he was at the sheriff's department. We went into the ballistics lab. Mike, am I correct about that? Was it ballistics?
Yeah. Well, it was It was the crime lab in general.
The crime lab.
I took you into the ballistic portion because I thought that would be the most interesting to you.
It was, folks, I had no idea. It was absolutely fascinating. I got a chance to look through the microscopes, right? And we were able to look at shell cases and things like that, and just different parts of ballistics. I was fascinated. I said, "Whoa, man! Wow, this is so cool." I said, "Wow." I said, "Wow, I feel like I'm in a part of Law and Order right now." You know,
CSI.
And no, it was really, really cool. But a couple of things I'd like for you to do for the novice, because a lot of people out here that's listening to us right now in different parts of the world, they don't know what is it called. Is it mitochondria?
Mito.
DNA.
Here, let me. So it's mito.
And I want you to do something, please, and break it down. Tell the audience exactly what that is.
So it's spelled MITOCHONDRIAL, mitochondrial DNA. And it's a small circular chromosome found in cellular mitochondria, separate from nuclear DNA. Keep in mind, it is inherited exclusively from the mother, making it critical for tracing maternal ancestry. It contains 37 genes essential for producing energy, which is referred to as ATP, and is used for identifying human remains due to its high copy number. It's the most accurate form of DNA that I am aware of.
Wow. You mentioned something else. Did you say neutral? Also neutral DNA? Did you say
nuclear DNA?
Nuclear. So what is nuclear?
You have DNA within DNA. You have mitochondrial DNA.
And you're saying that's the most accurate?
Yeah, you can get DNA, but you might not always get mitochondrial DNA. If you can get the mitochondrial DNA, you've struck gold.
Whoa. Now, what's the difference? Now, nuclear DNA, what is nuclear DNA?
That's your basic DNA. That's cellular. Okay. So if you can get a DNA, that's your cellular. Yeah.
So let's say you get a sample, like a mouth sample or something like that. Is that nuclear?
It's going to be nuclear, but within that saliva swab test, because it's coming direct, it's not going to be deteriorated like a decaying body. Oh. So it's going to, by nature, because it's fresh, it's going to also have mitochondrial involved within the nuclear DNA.
That is interesting. Great topic, because folks, again, what we tried to do, like I said, anyone on any broadcast or podcast, whatever news, they can talk about, well, hey man, this goes on. What we're trying to do, and especially I think that we've accomplished this to a great degree today, Mike. We want to know why. And if you know the why, you can figure out how to fix it. But you got to know what the problem is. Like, we can always complain about this. And there's a lot to complain about. But I want to get down to the root of it. And like that clown, that KKK clown, Mike, that we played earlier, major part of the problem. And what I wanted to get at there, how many parents, and the parents who are taking their children to any of this hateful person's service, they should be charged with child abuse, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, because what you're doing, if you allow your children, folks, think about this. If you carry around and perpetuate a hatred agenda, and you pass it down to your children, you're going to cause them problems in their future. I'm serious about that. If you're allowing your children to grow up with hate, greed, just being all around mean and evil, you are harming your children.
So I have an answer for you, a partial answer.
Please, I want to hear something about that, Mike.
number one is identifying the problem. Before you can fix it, you have to identify the problem. And once you've identified the problem, then you do what you just did, William, is you played this guy, you exposed this guy to the world on how evil he truly is, where he had no rational way to explain why only white people go to heaven. He couldn't explain it rationally. It made no sense whatsoever. So how do you handle the issues like this? You expose them to the sunlight. Sunlight's a great disinfectant. You expose this kind of evilness so that other people go, oh, wow, crap, this is wrong. And you get people to understand how wrong it truly is. So by what you and I are doing right now today, by exposing this and pointing out how evil it truly is, this is one way to resolve these issues. So people go, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, really. And do you really want to do this to your children? And Mike, I want you to do something right here. I need to do a sound check. You know what that means. And I will play this song. And on the other side, I need you to pick it up, okay? I really need you to talk about whatever you want to talk about, upcoming shows, whatever it is, okay? I need to take a few minutes. Let's do this, folks.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to the
Boomerang.
You've been listening. You can talk. You listen to the Boomerang Radio Show, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this with my main man, the madman, Mike.
Shades of cocoa blazing, we the stars on the rise. Every curve, every coil, got the sun hypnotized. A crown made of struggle, yet we shine so divine. Magic in our melanin, it's our moment to shine. Black girl, manifest power in your hands. Dance to your rhythm, shake up all the lands. They can't dim the glow built within your chest. Black girl, manifest, you're the soul's best guess. Strut like a queen, break the mold every step. Lipstick fierce, leaving words in the pep. Golden in our laughter, fire in our stride. We the movers, the shakers, ain't nowhere to hide. Black girl, manifest power in your hands. Dance to your rhythm, shake up all the lands. They can't dim the glow built within your chest. Black girl, manifest, you're the soul's best guess. Got ancestors whispering, girl, don't you forget. You're a work of wonder, not bound by regret. Spin the globe with your hips, make the world confess. Black girl, your magic, you define success. Mirror reflections, don't lie, they're blessed. Every scar, every story is a badge of finesse. Say it loud, say it proud, be the voice that'll crest. Black girl, manifest, ain't nothing less than to accept. Black girl, manifest, power in your hands. Dance to your rhythm, shake up all the lands. They can't dim the glow built within your chest. Black girl, manifest, you're the soul's best guess. Manifest, you're the soul's best guess. Got ancestors whispering, girl, don't you forget. You're a work of wonder, not bound by regret. Spin the globe with your hips, make the world confess. Black girl, your magic, you define success. Black girl, manifest, you define success. Black girl, manifest, you're the soul's best guess.
Okay, so we're back. William's taking a little bit of a break here for a moment. He'll be back pretty soon here. So let me talk a little bit about what William and I do on Thursdays, briefly anyway. We do a show called Coast to Coast because he's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. And we start at, let me see, it'd be 5 o'clock West Coast, time, and we end at 8 o'clock West Coast time. And if you're somewhere else in the United States, do the math. You're grown-ups. I'm sure you can handle it. So join us on Thursday nights for Coast to Coast. We play all kinds of diverse and different music, including new artists that allow us to play their songs for the first time on our show. And they many times come on as guests on Coast to Coast, which is fascinating also to hear where their music came from, how they developed their music, how they developed their art, their artistry. So join us on Coast to Coast Thursday nights, 5 o'clock West Coast time. Moving on, I'm going to go back to DNA because I am fascinated, like William, on DNA and the scientific side of things, and how major cases have been broken across the United States here because CODIS, which is the clearinghouse for DNA, so think of it as a library with whoever's DNA is submitted for either criminal reasons or because they did, 21andMe, or they submitted their DNA to find out what their heritage is, where their ancestors came from. And there's a lot of shocking information that you can get from your DNA. Also, your DNA, those markers in your DNA are also found in your family members' DNA. So mother, father, definitely, siblings, absolutely, and sometimes uncles and aunts. The California, they called him the Golden State Killer, who was, I believe he was in law enforcement, and he ended up killing many ladies, I believe, and they weren't able to catch him. They finally, they kind of pigeonholed him into, we really think it's probably this guy. So they pulled DNA out of his trash can because they wanted to figure out if this guy was truly involved. They put his DNA into CODIS, and they didn't find his exact DNA in CODIS. What they found was he had family members with all the same markers that aligned with his. So they were able to catch the Golden State Killer because of familiar DNA that was found in his family members. I forget which family members, but they were able to do that, and they caught this Golden State Killer. And I believe that case itself was like 30 or 35 years old at the time that they were able to figure it out. We had one here in San Bernardino where a body was found up in the hills of San Bernardino. San Bernardino is kind of a dumping ground for Orange County, Los Angeles, Riverside, because we have these vast deserts and mountains where you can easily dump a body. So we had a young lady in, I believe, down in LA that was abducted from a movie theater in the evening. So she was kidnapped and abused, and her body was dumped in our hills of San Bernardino. And we pulled mitochondrial DNA from her remains, and the case sat for decades unsolved. Decades. And we can never pin it down. This gentleman who abducted her, abused her, killed her, buried her in the hills, years later, I forgive me, I'm a little foggy on dates, but again, it was like 30 or 40 years later, he did something stupid down in Florida. So the crime was committed here in California. The body was dumped here in San Bernardino, and he did something stupid in Florida 40 years later, or 30 or 40, whatever it was. So as a criminal, once you're convicted, they can take your DNA. They can't take your DNA unless you're convicted. At least that's the rules here in California, because it's improper to take your DNA when you've only been accused of a crime. You have to be been convicted of committing that crime. So he was evidently convicted in Florida. They took his DNA, they put it into CODIS, and bing, 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 all the red lights and flags went off, and his DNA matched what they found on her body and her remains. And that was 30 or 40 years later. So DNA has been a blessing to going after the evil people that exist in this world that, once again, are inhumane to their fellow man. So, William, I hope I vamped for you long enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Fascinating, because after I did my check, I was listening. I wanted to hear what you had to say. I have another question for you. There was a case. Help me out. We might be going back maybe 10 years, and you were with the sheriff's department, or you were active with the sheriff's department at the time. And it happened in Barstow. What's that Army base up there? Up in Barstow. You know what I'm talking about. In the Barstow area.
Yes, I do. Yeah, give me a second. It'll click for me.
Okay, think about that for a second, because there was a couple where they were having extramarital affairs, this woman and this guy, this man, the soldier.
This was actually, it was 29 Palms. 29 Palms Marine Corps base, yes.
And so I think what happened, correct me if I'm wrong, you know more about this case than I do. I believe that the woman that was having an affair with this, the both were in the military, I believe, and she got pregnant by this gentleman, and he decided, instead of going through what happens, I mean, being caught or whatever, he decided to murder this woman and dump her in some shafts down up near Las Vegas. Mike, you know the story. Take it from there, please.
You guys can look it up on the internet. It's Erin Corwin is the lady who ended up dead because of this. Erin Corwin, and this originated in 28 Palms Marine Corps base. And okay, so this is 2025. This would have been more than 10 years ago, probably 12 to 15, I'm guessing. And again, I'm foggy because all these cases are in my head, and it's hard to keep all the dates straight. So here you have two Marines that were in the Marine Corps at 29 Palms Marine Corps base. The husband of Erin Corwin was deployed. And while he was deployed, she hooked up with one of the other Marines that lived down the street or somewhere in proximity. She hooked up with him, and he's a married man. At the time, he had, I think, a 3-year-old daughter. So he had a wife, a 3-year-old daughter, and he hooks up with Erin Corwin. She gets pregnant while her husband's deployed. It's like, a pretty big red flag right there. So he, his wife found out about it, or he confessed to his wife. And he says, I'm not having this. You're not having a child with another woman, and you need to take care of this. So she was, in my mind, allegedly, she was part of her death, Erin Corwin's death. So, yes. So he develops this plan where he knows her mother is coming to visit her from out of state. So he tells Erin Corwin, hey, let's go look at some neat places here in the desert where we can take your mom and she can see the sights. So he meets her. They park their cars together. She gets into his car and he goes off to drive around to see these sights, to pick a place where her mom might want to see. In the interim, he has a weapon. I think it was like a 22 handgun or something stupid. He shoots and kills her. And he had already pre-planned I might be off on some of the exact things because I work so many different cases, but he kills her and he'd already pre-planned to shove her down a mine shaft. So he knew exactly where he was going. After he killed her, he took her to this mine shaft, or maybe killed her at that location, dumps her body down at the mine shaft, and her body gets caught on a ledge like 214 feet down the mine shaft. Now, this guy had also researched, I'm going to bring this all together. He had also researched how to get rid of or dispose of a body. So he had propane tanks and gasoline, and after he dumps her down the mine shaft, he throws in these open propane tanks where he circumvented the safety valve so that they would emit the propane, because most tanks have a safety valve on them now. If you just open them up, they won't put out any gas unless they're connected to something. So he circumvented that, threw the propane tanks down the mine shaft where her body was at. Excuse me. Also threw down the gasoline down the mine shaft, and then he goes to light it on fire. Well, he didn't do his research very good, because down in that mine shaft, it requires 3 things to start a fire.
Let me ask you a question. It requires One is oxygen, right?
Fuel, and heat. Well, he had the fuel and he had the heat by way of lighting matches or flares. I think he used road flares. But there was down these mine shafts, a lot of times there's no oxygen. So none of it went up in flames. So her pregnant body laid on this shelf down the mine shaft until, I forget the time frame. I think it was about 30 days later, because we were researching all the data that was on his electronic devices. And the way we got access to his electronic devices is they believed he was part of it. So they went as investigators to find out what he knew about the disappearance of Aaron Corwin. So as they're investigating him and interrogating him, they find an explosive device in his garage. This is where it takes a sideways turn. This explosive device was a potato gun that he had manufactured out of pipe. And then you load that, the back end of the pipe, you load it with lighter fluid, and then you touch a match or something burning, to a lighter or whatever, touch that, and it fires off this potato. So that's considered an explosive device. So they arrested him for illegally having an explosive device. In the interim, they had to confiscate his electronic devices, his computer, his phone, and all of that. He had deleted all the information on how to discard of a body. He had deleted all the information researching local mine shafts in 29 Palms out in the desert. But because of our high-tech crime division, once you delete something, it's not always really gone.
Right.
It's still there. So they were able to recover all of this very damaging information, how to dispose of a body, where the mine shafts were at. And they saw where he was looking. So they started, our cave team, our mine and cave team, systematically started going through the area that he had been looking at with the help of an old timer that was very knowledgeable in the mine shafts that existed in that area. So this old timer, he looked at the pictures that they showed him, and you go, oh, that's mine 102 named this, and that's mine 406 named this, and that's over here, and that's over here. So with the help of this old timer, they were able to find out the specific mines, and then they systematically would go out and clear these mines with GoPro cameras that they would lower down on tethers until they finally, I think it was actually the number 100 mine that they checked. This is how diligent they were. I think it was number 100 after a month or more of searching that they shoot this GoPro down this mine shaft, and there she is laying on the shelf, decaying. Wow. with the gasoline and the propane tanks.
I've got so many questions. Let's start here. How did they first find out there was a connection between this him and her? How did they first find out? Great question.
Yeah. They first found out something that I don't do. I'm not on social media for a reason. They found out a connection between him and her because they would go to the same place where it was a horse sanctuary, I believe, and you could volunteer to go help care for these horses that are being rescued. And they found him and her together in pictures at this horse rescue, and they knew they lived down the street, walking distance from each other. So by putting 2 and 2 together and 4 and 4 together, they were able to go, oh, okay, well, this guy's got to know something. He hung around her at the horse savior ranch, and he lived down the street, and they were friends. And he was a friend with her husband that was deployed. And so that's how they first started the investigation, because of social media.
Okay, got another one. Then how did they first, and then they end up, like you said, the mother was coming in town. He wanted to show her different locations where, okay, let's go out here, and your mom might like seeing this, seeing that. Okay, fine. How did they get to that location? How did they get there to find out, okay, we've got all these mines out here. Was it something on his computer? Like maybe, like you said, he deleted a lot of stuff. Did this stupid person look up ways to dispose of a body, and
yes,
okay.
Yeah, that's where he got the idea from the gasoline and the propane and the road flare. So yeah, he looked that up, and we were our high tech crime division was able to get that back, even though he tried to delete it. And
Did
then go ahead.
No, did he also look up ways to dispose of body, like in a mine shaft or something like that? Or was all that in his research?
That was in his head, because he knew it was in 29 Palms, where there's all kinds of mine shafts. It's riddled. I mean, it looks like if you held up a map and shot it with birdshot, that's how many mines were out there. We had the maps, and we were looking at, there's thousands of mines out there in 29 Palms and in San Bernardino County also, because I mean, it was a big gold rush up in Holcomb Valley and such. So in his mind, so he's looking at the gasoline and now I'm going to speculate here. I'm going to speculate because I don't know. But he was looking at the gasoline and the propane and road flares. And then on his own, I think he put 2 and 2 together and goes, well, listen, I'll dispose of the body by shoving it down a mine shaft and burning it. So that's my speculation on it. And then he
I guess my question is, how do you get to a mine? Go on.
Well, there's roads.
Go on, please.
Oh yeah, you just drive to the mine shaft. You can go see them. A lot of them are secured. A lot of them are secured where they've covered them up and poured concrete in them or whatever. They've sealed them in some way because they're dangerous. People ride dirt bikes out there, and all of a sudden they're down a hole, and these holes are big. Some of them are huge. You could drive a Mack truck in some of these. So, but he faked out that he was going to take her to go see the scenery. Well, I don't know at what point where he killed her. I don't know if he drove to the mine and killed her and then dumped her at the mine, or he killed her and loaded her in the car and then drove to the mine. I don't know. I think the detectives know, but I was not privy to that. I didn't ask.
Okay, I understand. I guess my question is, well, now, was her car found in, because you say she drove there and he drove there, was her car in that vicinity?
Her car was in a different location where they met so they could ride together in his vehicle. Well, his tire tracks are right next to hers, where they parked together and loaded into his car, where they went off to see the sights, so to speak.
Okay. Folks, wow. I remember that story vividly. Of course, I didn't have all the details that Mike has, but based on what I've heard when Mike said, that is what I read and that was reported. And so, folks, and DNA is, a man has, like I said, has advanced in so many ways scientifically, as far as science is concerned. It is outstanding research. I mean, the problem is dividing this divisiveness that's going on in the country, because it is a fact. When we work together, we are better for it. Everyone's better for it. Greed, selfishness, and things like that. When we start turning each other, it's like crabs in a barrel. When we do things like that, and you have to understand, there are powers to be out there that are benefiting from every stupid thing we do. That's how, we talked about corporations earlier, we talked about CEOs, but guess what? They're really not controlling what's going on. In order for the oligarchs, and even more than the oligarchs, the most powerful people in the world, we don't even know who they are.
True, I believe.
We don't even, and we're talking about less than 1% of the population that really controls the world. And you look at and ask the question, how could 1% control 99?
Because they're the puppet masters. And what we're seeing is the people that are the useful idiots in our government that are being manipulated and their strings being pulled by the puppet master. And some of these puppet masters, we kind of know who they are, the George Soroses of this world and such, and many others. Now, allegedly, I'm saying George Soros. I don't need him coming after me either.
And you could throw Elon Musk in there too then.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of puppet masters out there. And I think we know some of them, but I think some of them we don't even have an idea.
You don't have an idea. And, we don't. And I'm not even sure that the George Soros and the Elon Musk of the world are the real puppet masters.
Great question.
Ooh. Think about this.
Question.
Think about this. The people that are really controlling the world, they want to keep control. They would do anything to keep control. And how do you do that?
Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Dr. Demery would bring that up many times here on this show.
Many times. And so how does 1% control 99%? Divide and conquer. Mike, if they can get me to hate you, they can get you to hate Chinese, Japanese, African.
It's manipulation.
Manipulation, folks. We have to understand what's really going on. So I really enjoyed this conversation you and I had, Mike, because instead of looking at it from the top down, we're looking at it from the inside out. What's really causing the problems that we have today? Because if they can get me to hate you and you to hate me, my brother, then guess what? They've won. And that is true. You're white people aren't all bad. Black people aren't all bad. Chinese people aren't all bad. Chinese part of Asia, Africa, folks. Like Mike said, you got the puppet master up there, and they are dinging, us down here, controlling the whole situation.
Yeah.
And I'm fighting you, you're fighting me, and we're not even looking at what's going on at the top. And if you're into evil, that's brilliant. But as far as society is concerned, as far as society is concerned, man, we are being played, have been played, probably since the beginning of time.
Absolutely. This is nothing new. And Dr. Sims, I got to give her credit because, and I may word it improperly, but she has many times spoken of master manipulation and how that is intertwined in our society and how well it works in an evil way.
It does.
So, master manipulators.
Absolutely. And then let's go. We only have a couple of minutes, but let's go to these doggone politicians.
Will you do something?
And guess what? And I'm not going to all put it on the Republicans.
Do something.
Some so-called Democratic leaders out here that should not be in power.
On both sides, but do me a favor. I'm going to give you a little time frame to work this up. Would you close the show out after we discuss whatever we're going to discuss? Would you close the show out with Nick West as a favor to me?
Oh yes,
and I'll give you a little time to figure that out while we talk.
Well, let me pull it up. You go and talk a little bit. Let me pull it up. Let me go on. But Mike, tell me what I just said.
Where we talk about the evil of our politicians. Many times here I refer to politicians as liars, cheats, thieves, and whores. And again, for Dr. Demery, I can't say all, but go ahead, William.
No, I'm serious about that, man, because these guys. Okay. Would you consider? Got a question, Mike. $178,000 a year. You're getting paid to do a job. Would you consider that a decent wage?
I would consider that an extremely good wage.
Okay. And you are paid this.
That's a lot of money.
To go out and represent your constituents, right? And when you were running for office, you promised them a lot of things, didn't you? Then you promise them that you're going to D.C. to make a change. The things that people are upset about, the things that are holding them back, the things that they are not getting because they're paying their taxes, you are there to represent them, and you get there.
In theory,
you poo-poo on them, Mike.
In theory, you're supposed to be there to represent the people, your constituents, and make their lives better and safer and all of those things more profitable so that you can raise your family in peace and quiet. But again, I view most politicians, I didn't say all, as liars, cheats, thieves, and whores. The one thing that motivates a politician more than any other thing, it's not representing their people of the area that they're supposed to. Their sole number one goal is to get reelected or move to a higher office.
Come on, man.
So, and I just, don't take my word for it. Just look at history. Look at politicians that are lifetime politicians, the Nancy Pelosi's of this world, and the other side as well. It doesn't matter, Democrat or Republican. We have lifetime politicians. It was never meant to be a lifetime position. It was meant to serve your United States and serve the people of the area that you represent, and then return home to your farm, your ranch, or whatever your normal job was. It was never meant to be a lifelong job.
It shouldn't
be. And that's why we need these term limits to kick in, so that people, because once you're a lifetime politician, either side, you along the way naturally are in some people's pockets, because they've donated to you, they helped you to get reelected, they supported you, they said, yeah, this guy's a great guy. So now you're beholding to people that choose to manipulate you and go, hey, can you help me out with this bridge project or this housing or something else that's going to benefit these huge donators to their continuing to be a lifelong politician. So don't tell me you can be in political office for 30, 40, 50 years and not be in somebody's pocket. That's just impossible.
Hey, you know what,
because man is just not built that way.
That's exactly right. I couldn't agree with you more, man. I'm gonna tell you something. Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell. I mean, like you said,
Schumer,
this is one time I've been agreeing with you all night here, but I'm going to agree with you again. It's on both sides of the aisle, because they should not. They're doing something, Mike, that you and I can't do. Now, I'm also your friend, but I'm also your broker. And I used to trade stocks. I don't trade stocks anymore. I refuse to trade stocks anymore, because I deal with my clients who want a safer investment that they don't lose their money. And stocks, you can make a whole lot of money, but you can lose a whole ton of money either. So another story. Insider trading. Do you know, if I got a tip on a stock before it was publicly announced, and I gave it to you, and we exercised on that, do you know both of us could go to prison? Did you know that?
You should.
But they can do it in Congress and nothing happens.
I wonder why.
They can do it in Congress and nothing happens. Why is that, Mike?
Because it's been allowed to happen. Because it's been everyone has turned a blind eye to it, because these people are powerful in Congress. I mean, they have more power than you and I have. So because they have that power and they're able to abuse that power, they get away with it.
But they're supposed to be representing us, right?
In theory, they're representing themselves to get reelected and to get these high salaries that they get in Congress.
Meaning a lot of them, not all, like you said, not all, because Dr. Demery taught us differently than that. Not all, but there's a ton of them, too many of them, an overwhelming amount of them. They don't give a damn about us. Like you said, they just want to get reelected so they can keep getting their pockets fat. Because how many go in there broke as a church mouse and come out rich?
Multimillionaires. Hey, money, power, fame. Money, power, and fame is what drives mankind. And these people that are in Congress are going after the trifecta. They want the money, they want the power, and they want the fame.
You know what? I said clean house. I don't know about you, bro. I said clean house.
Yep.
And we as people, we need to do our research and really put some people in there that we really know. Because guess what? Everyone has a resume. Okay, even before they got to Congress. And you can base it on it like their DNA. Check out the resume. What have they done?
The facts don't cease to exist because you choose to ignore them.
That's exactly right. Hey, Mike. Hey, per your wish, my friend. Hey, what a great show.
Thanks,
thank
my
you,
friend William. I appreciate you a great deal.
Hey,
thanks for everything you've done. Thanks for everything you've done for me for the last couple of weeks, and you know what I mean.
Well, hey, bro, thanks for everything you've done for me since we've been friends. All right, how about that?
That'll work.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Fair exchange is no robbery. Fair exchange is no robbery.
There we go.
Thank you, my brother.
Thanks, William.
Hey, Nick
Love
West.
you, bud.
Hey, guys. You've been listening to the Boomerang Radio Show. Mad Mike, no, that's on Thursday, huh? That's on Thursday. Hey, Mike, I gotta stop.
I talked about that earlier.
We gotta tell people Thursday.
When you took your little break, I talked about Coast to Coast.
Yeah, well, guess what? We're gonna do it again, guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. Whatever Mike said, Coast to Coast on Thursday. You have no idea. It's a whole lot of fun. I look forward to Thursdays, man, because after a week, whatever it is, you can kick back, grab a glass, and just enjoy. There was a clip that I meant to play today, and I know I've gone over a couple of minutes, but it was something about education, okay? And it said something about, no, the best education is not more books, but it's more music. Something about that, man. Look, as good as a second language, music, guys, if you want to expand your horizon, if you want to expand your child's horizon, teach them, get them an instrument, give them vocal lessons, whatever it is, because I'll promise you it would expand your intellect. In the meantime, this is Nick West. Mike, you asked for Nick West. Wait a minute.
Thank you, buddy.
Let's do it, buddy.
Bye,
hey,
everyone.
Mike, enjoy your night, Mike.
I sure will. Thanks, William.